everyone, and welcome to DC Daily. I'm Markia McCarty, and it's Monday, October 8th, 2018. Let's get into the news. Writer Brian Michael Bendis has a special announcement about his new Wonder Comics imprint. You'll hear more about that in a special interview from New York Comic Con later in today's episode, so make sure you stick around. If you've been watching DC Daily, you might have heard about something called DC Primal Age. Well, it's official. Funko and DC have teamed up to provide a barbaric take on all of your favorite DC superheroes, including Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, and supervillains like the Joker, the Scarecrow, and Mr. Freeze. Available exclusively through Amazon, each figure retails for $11.99 and are available now. We also reported last week that Emmett J. Scanlon would be playing the role of Lobo on the upcoming season of Sci-Fi's Krypton. Well, during the con, we actually got to see how Scanlon will look as the main man with the first official photo of him being released. It looks like a pretty accurate depiction of the last Zarnian. Don't forget to stick around after the news, DC Universe subscribers. You can watch the DC Daily Cast discuss your favorite books, movies, and shows on our daily panel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Here's a sneak peek.
I will say when they crushed that late 70s Mustang into itself, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. How did they do that? However, for me,
yes,
there was too much discovery for her and not enough action.
Yeah,
I needed
agreed.
to see more of Supergirl, not, right. Oh, it's a pillow.
Yeah. Today in comics, Kara searches for answers regarding Krypton's destruction in Supergirl number 23. Is there a connection between Rogol Zar and the planet's fate? What will Supergirl discover in the Green Lantern database on Mogo? Find out in the latest issue. The Scarlet Speedster takes on fire monsters in The Flash number 56. As things heat up, the Flash will have to get through to a comatose heat wave to put an end to the onslaught. Captain Boomerang heads down under in Suicide Squad number 47. While the rest of the squad is on a mission in Atlantis, Amanda Waller sends Captain Boomerang to Australia to stop a set of nukes. Can he pull it off? Check out the newest issue to find out. It's all treats and no tricks from Brian Hitch this month on social media. The artist tweeted a sneak peek of Hawkman and said, "Since it's been previewed, here's pages 4 through 5 of Hawkman issue 5. Happy Hawktober." It's a new season of DC TV with new episodes of The Flash starting tomorrow night. Let's check in with Hector Navarro to get his thoughts on the Scarlet Speedster Season 5 premiere.
What's up, DC Universe? We're back, baby. That's right, all of your favorite DC TV shows are starting to come back this week, and we're talking about them. First up, The Flash. Brand new episode tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and this episode has got so much going on. We are picking up right where the last season left off. We have Nora, a brand new character. She's the daughter of Barry Allen and Iris West, and she is visiting from the future. Her past, our present. She's apparently stuck here for some reason. She wants to keep trying to hang out with Barry. We don't know why. We don't know what's going on here. Plus, this villain Gridlock, what's his deal? What's going on with Gridlock in this episode? And Cisco's having a rough time. It's a fantastic Cisco episode. And Ralph Dibny is apparently losing his memory. I'm sorry, Elongated Man. What's going on, bud? There's so much happening in this episode that you might almost miss this classic comic book Easter egg for all of you Flash comic book fans out there. Be sure to keep an eye out for the name of the airline that's mentioned in tomorrow night's episode. So, we're back. We're hitting the ground running. Yes, that was a Flash pun on purpose. Brand new season. It is shaping up to be an awesome one. So don't miss out on the brand new episode of The Flash tomorrow night.
That's it for the news today. Now let's check in with the crew at New York Comic Con and see what they got into during the final days of the convention.
There was DC action all around every corner at New York Comic Con, and these stars of the comic book world were roaming the convention center all weekend long. DC is expanding its partnership with Brian Michael Bendis with a new pop-up imprint for teens called Wonder Comics. The line includes 4 ongoing series with Young Justice and a brand new character named Naomi kicking things off in January.
Wonder Comics is our brand new imprint that my wife Elisa and I are curating for DC Comics. Its focus is on the young heroes of the DC Universe, Young Justice, Wonder Twins, Dial H for Hero, and Naomi.
Well, Naomi is a new character to the DC Universe. She is sort of a byproduct of Brian and I being friends for many years. working together and just having conversations, and it was trying to capture that sense of what's cool about superhero stories, but from that young person's point of view.
Naomi is the only dark-skinned person in her town. It's a small town in Pacific Northwest, and it's this very ordinary looking part of the DCU that we don't really get to see that often. And then Superman comes crashing in, and it's this big, bold, bright colors, larger than life, and getting to play with that contrast of the mundane and the superheroism is a very unique thing that's unique to this book.
When Superman enters her world as the most famous adopted person in the universe, it triggers something in her to look more into her adoption. And though she has a very healthy, good relationship with her parents, something is pulling her. Something is obsessing her about Superman. And she starts thinking, and there's secrets in the town that no one's talking about. What Naomi discovers is going to be a giant additive thing to the entire DC universe. Much like the Fourth World and Gem World, it's unlocking something that we're going to discover that we did not know was there, that the entire DC universe will have to deal with on some level.
We also got to see the cast of Titans come together for a special signing at the booth. Fans got to grab some FaceTime with the super team that will be dominating the DC universe later this week. On top of that, Shazam star Zachary Levi sent a jolt of electricity through the convention center with a surprise appearance on the show floor.
Only one of us dressed properly today.
Fans got a one-of-a-kind experience with DC's newest big screen hero, and somehow everyone walked away with a full charge on their cell phones.
Your phone's charged, your phone's charged.
What the hell?
On the publishing side, Heroes in Crisis is in full swing, and we chatted with the book's creative team to find out what the fan reaction has been so far.
When Heroes in Crisis came out, there was a huge reaction, yeah. A positive reaction I didn't think is that a lot of people reached out to me and like, dude, who's Hotspot? I love this character. Can we have more of him? And I'm like, had you ever heard of Hotspot? He's in 2 cartoons and 3 issues, and now you want more of him? So I was like, the fact that we had 1 page with this character, and now people want to see him again, that's cool. This story is trying to talk about that horribleness that sometimes it's schools, it's events, it's the people who aren't protected that get hurt. And these are people who are burying themselves and are being naked and are out there that are getting hurt first. And so I think that concern is the real scare behind the whole thing.
As usual, the Legion of DC cosplayers showed up and showed out, and Harley Quinn Smith joined the fun at a meetup hosted by LEGO DC Supervillains.
So I'm really excited. I'm here for the celebration of LEGO DC Supervillains. It's launching October 16th, and what I did is LEGO contacted me and I put the word out to all the cosplayers who follow me or in the community, and I said, bring out your best DC supervillain costume and come to the booth and get a photo at noon on Saturday. So I'm really excited, and then I made this specifically because I hadn't done a DC villain. I'd always been a hero, so I'm dabbling in the dark arts right now.
So how long did this beautiful outfit take?
It took probably about 2 weeks because I have a regular job, so I'd come home from work, I'd work on it, I made the corset, I cut all the little leaves, glued them on, and it was just intertwining all the branches and just kind of doing my own take on it. That's what I love about cosplay. It's like fan art. Yeah. Everybody has their own voice on how they want the costume to look. So you can have 500 Harleys and they all have their unique approach on it.
That's beautiful. Everybody's doing their own thing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
you look great.
Thank you.
A-list writer Kelly Sue DeConnick is taking the helm of Aquaman this December, and she gave us a preview about her plans for the King of Atlantis.
At the start of our run, Aquaman has washed up onto a metaphysical island, the island of unspoken water, and he does not remember who he is. And by beginning there, we can kind of teach him as we teach the reader who this character is and what his history is. Mara is an incredibly important character in his life. We're not forgetting about Mara, but right now he doesn't remember Mara. So what does that mean? And you learn this character, Nama, is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, ocean god. And she mad. She real mad. We've got that, and then we've got new supporting characters too coming in, and
awesome.
Yes.
The new characters are awesome.
I always think of all of my books in terms of music, and so for this one it was Zeppelin. It was like, all right, there is a Like there is a heavy base and a rich mythology and a real, like it's water, right? There's a sensuality to it.
And finally, on the animation side, Constantine, City of Demons held an advanced screening for fans, and we caught up with the cast and crew to find out what to expect from the haunting new thriller.
It's a bit of an origin story for people who don't know, and there's a lot there for people who have been engaged with Constantine for a long time, and if you're new to the world, it gives you a really good slope in so that you can see what his world is all about.
Constantine City of Demons began as an adaptation of a graphic novel called All His Engines, a very famous graphic novel by Mike Carey and Leonardo Manca. What we did was use that graphic novel as a foundation and then build up and build out from there. And so if you're a fan of the graphic novel, you'll see all the elements that you know, but you'll also see storylines and characters that were not there at all. And so we used that as our foundation and built a whole new building on top of it.
This version here is so much darker, and there's a lot of things. I watched the full movie version myself yesterday, and I had to rewind it a couple of times because I was like, this is happening. What?
We decided, look, I mean, take this material and go further, like visually, you know, with the gore, the violence, and the blood, and see if they pull back on us. And we never heard back from him, so most of the material's in there.
All of the chains were taken off, and it said, you tell the story the way that you need to get the story told. So it's R-rated, it's a little dark, it's a little sexy, it's got a lot of weight to it, but it all comes from a grounded place of getting the storytelling right. What you didn't see if you watched it on The Seed is all the rest of the story. You only got 30 minutes, and this is almost 90 minutes long. There's a real depth, there's a weight, and there's a whole bunch of stuff we're not allowed to broadcast that is available on the Blu-ray version of the film instead of what's streaming, which is really cool.
New York Comic Con 2018 was an absolute showstopper, and I think we're going to be riding a DC high for months to come.
Well done.
Hey there everyone, I'm Clark Wolf, and today we are discussing the 1984 Supergirl film starring Helen Slater. All right, panel, so this was a trip down memory lane, if you're me. So John, I want to start with you. What did you think of this cast, and were there any surprises for you?
Well, I wasn't familiar with the film, so this was my first time watching it.
Really?
Absolutely. I was of an age where, you know, that I didn't really delve into Supergirl very much, but I was very surprised at the cast. We've got Mia Farrow, who's involved in it. Then you have Peter O'Toole, who I met before he passed away in the UK, but a very good British actor. And Faye Dunaway and Brenda Vaccaro. Faye Dunaway, I'm like, what is, Joan Crawford, because she played Joan Crawford in Mommy Dear. So I'm like, what's Joan Crawford doing in Supergirl? But listen, a great cast. That kind of, for me, gave the movie its weight. There were other things that I didn't gel with, which we can get to later, but the cast really, I thought they've really spent their money here to build this story and to make it believable by giving it such good quality actors. So I love the cast.
Awesome. Markia, how about you? Anything stand out to you about this cast in particular?
Faye Dunaway.
Yes.
All
I'm
day,
with
every
you.
day.
I am with
my
you.
God.
Yeah.
Live for that woman. I mean, the puns, the evil, I was just all about that. The veteran actors that they had in Supergirl, very much enjoyed.
Oh my gosh. Faye Dunaway, to me, really knew what movie she was in, but was having a great time. Like villains sometimes, they don't necessarily stand the test of time, but I thought she was kind of perfect.
She brought a lot of energy and a lot of great knowing winks to every scene, and it needed to be very over the top, especially for somebody who's going to declare themselves Empress of the Earth. So you need that big energy. You cannot be a shrinking violet in that
Did you
role.
not think that there was one sequence where the wind was blowing and her hair was just going, ah! She looked like the scene from Weird Science.
Yeah.
The transformation, right?
Not to rain on anyone's parade though, but Peter O'Toole and Faye Dunaway were actually nominated for Razzies after this movie. And you might feel a certain way about that, John, but...
Well, it's, but listen, was that because of their performance or because of the genre of the movie? Because they were not taken seriously because they were deemed to have done something beneath their character, which is a load of rubbish.
Well,
It was
I would
not
say
a popular, well-regarded movie at the time,
No.
so I think the Razzies were jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I'm going to nominate those Razzies for a Razzie.
I was about to say, much like the Oscars, the Razzies don't always get it right. And
That's
fun
right.
fact, I was reading that the producers offered Dolly Parton.
Yes.
Did you read this?
Yes, I did.
So apparently
that would
the
have been
producers-
amazing.
Wait, for Supergirl?
No, yes,
for Faye Dunaway,
Supergirl.
for
Dolly
Selena.
Parton as Supergirl. No, they offered Dolly Parton the role of Selena and offered her
Yes.
like $7 million. And
Yes.
she passed and she said, no, I can't. My kids can't see me as a witch.
Yeah,
That's
she
not-
said she'd never play a witch.
Yeah, and I was like,
I did not know
but
that.
what an opportunity.
That could have been an incredible movie.
Faye did it for $4.50 and it was fantastic.
How dare you, John? How dare
You
you?
sit back. You sit back. Okay, so Markia, let's dive in a little deeper to what did you think about this version of Supergirl? Helen Slater was a relative unknown at that point, and I know that the producers had looked at some bigger names. They were looking at Brooke Shields, but ultimately because Christopher Reeve was sort of, in their mind, mostly an unknown, they wanted to sort of follow that trajectory. So that's how we got Helen Slater.
I'm very glad that she had this opportunity. You know, for her career, for you know her being for her being a new actress, to have that is a very big thing and a very big role, and I'm glad she was able to do that. For me, Supergirl is Kara from Justice League Unlimited. That's my Supergirl when it comes to watching the medium as opposed to reading it. With this Supergirl, she was just, you know, she was so quiet spoken.
Yes.
Like so quiet
Yes.
spoken, so wide, and like doe-eyed with the world, with everything. It was a little off-putting for me, and that says nothing about the actress.
Sure.
But it wasn't my Supergirl.
No, listen, Linda is we spend a lot of time with Linda. Like, I did not remember how much time we spent with her
Linda
alter
Lee.
ego. Exactly. And that stuff is, to me, far less compelling than the actual Supergirl stuff.
Superman was not portrayed in that way when he came to Earth in the first films. He was not doe-eyed, and they both kind of came from the same realm.
Yeah.
So in the aspect of him arriving and not being doe-eyed, it's interesting that in that time period, even, you know, it was what, the late...
I want to say early 80s.
It has to, because it came out in
Yeah.
84.
So it was still in a time period where, you know, the female was looked differently.
But she even had knowledge of Superman and his
Correct.
exploits. So this is my cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a tree. Well, it wasn't really a tree, but you know, like here's a tree.
She should have been stronger. She should have been stronger.
Less naive.
Yes, she was older. She had some experience. Her and her family were refugees of a sort in the weird little crystal city that they lived in.
Yeah, was it Argon City?
Argo
City?
Someone tweet and tell us.
Another award winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Another Oscar award winner, non-specific. Sam, let's come back to you. Now, something that I really enjoyed, and I want to get your take on this, was the Phantom Zone.
Yes.
We actually got to
Yes.
spend some time in the Phantom Zone. What were your thoughts on this scene and how it held up?
I love their depiction of the Phantom Zone. I think the Phantom Zone is so cool. It's like Superman's Arkham Asylum in space. And it's weird and it's crazy and it's cosmic, but it's also very dark. You know, you can be banished there forever in this weird cosmic hell and never get out for eternity. And I honestly think there may be some dissent here, but I think that
We're coming to you next.
I also motion to Markia. I think the special effects.
John's been saying stuff too.
Shots fired.
I'm waiting till you're done, then I'll jump in.
Well, I think the special effects held up really well, and I enjoyed seeing them, and I think they had a real chance to shine in the Phantom Zone sequences, especially with Peter O'Toole, seeing an actor like Peter O'Toole with his gravitas in there. Although I did love when he was like, I doomed our city and I probably killed your daughter. You guys will die, but I get to escape to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, hello.
It's a very, very convenient sentence for him, but I love the effects and I thought the Phantom Zone was great.
Brian, what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I will say, even though John's like, what are you talking about? I actually agreed in general the effects for a 1984 flick held up. We talked about other shows, like if people that are here for the Superboy panel, those, I I don't want to call those necessarily, the level of effects that we see in a movie. But this one, even scenes where she flew in the air, it actually, although she didn't have that explosion because we didn't have those visuals at the time, her actual flying was not that bad, quite honestly.
Yeah, because it's different and it was
John?
very, well, but from a movement perspective, I'm not necessarily talking about the CG, but the wire work that they did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Practical
That's
effects
it.
I really enjoyed for this movie.
Okay.
The practical effects
Pre-CGI.
with the practical flying and
Yeah.
for that with the Phantom Zone, I enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed Peter O'Toole be like, spritz. It's like he found some stuff.
I was actually confused at that part. Was that like the goo from the green pit?
It was too muddy for me.
Yeah.
Right? It was too muddy.
I feel like you would be pro mud.
Knowing
what I know.
84? Barrelman, 84.
Yeah, but still. But also then there's the bit when she's flying, they always cut as she was going through the window because they had to stop because I could just envision her. They're going and cut and the wires hit the wall and she swings a little bit. They're like, get her down. And then they cut to the next bit where she's going out. I didn't like the way she transformed. When I say transform, I mean changing.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. She'd go through fly in and she'd go through a tube and then she'd come out with the clothes on. It's like, what were they hanging there?
That was.
Did you preempt it?
Didn't make a lot of logical sense, but willingness suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
I will say, last thing on the Phantom Zone part, that was the scene to me where Supergirl, the character, came together. Now, I feel like it was a little late in the movie because this is a long movie, all things considered, but that scene, and I do think it was the great Peter O'Toole sort of raising the bar, but also Helen Slater getting the opportunity to really be Supergirl, to be optimistic, to be a fighter.
To be impish,
Yeah.
A little bit, mischievous, which she is.
Yes.
She's a teenager.
Absolutely.
She's a teenager, not a child.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. That's a great distinction. Okay, so last question for everyone, but I want to start with you, Brian. Was there anything else that stood out to you about the movie that did work in particular or maybe didn't?
2 words, y'all. Tractor zombie. An animated tractor zombie. You had the camera, they didn't have GoPros back then, but you had the camera angle from inside the tractor mouth going clank, clank at Ethan, the love interest.
Oh,
and
Ethan.
this tractor just tore up the city. And I don't know if there's any comparable thing in a movie of recent memory. Tractor zombie.
It was a creative solution to be like, we're all out of special effects money. Hey, can we borrow that tractor over there?
All right, what about you, Sam? Anything else in particular that stood out that did work or maybe didn't work?
I did forget about Ethan and the guy everybody wanted to get with for some reason. But Ethan was Hart Bochner, who was the sleazeball from Die Hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good call.
And I love that performance in Die Hard. That's a classic performance. So I was happy to see him here again.
I like that.
Maybe the second performance by him I've seen.
The second, 2. We're 2 for 2. Markia, how about you? Anything that stands out in particular that did work or maybe didn't work that we haven't touched on?
I don't know if they were sisters or not, but Faye Dunaway's character, Selena, with I thought it was her sister. I thought it was because I really loved that relationship between the two of them. I thought it really made it. I'm glad Selena wasn't there by herself, although Faye can carry whatever she wants to.
Something to bounce off of.
Yeah, I thought that worked so well for me.
It's interesting that this movie came out in 1984, right? Selena only made the jump to the comic books just last year in 2017 in Steve Orlando's Supergirl book, which I'm not surprised that Steve saw the potential in this character. I'm just surprised he was the first because Faye did such a great job in that role.
Yeah.
The part that was kind of nightmare fuel for me was when that phantom creature was just coming towards the campus. That actually kind of chilled me.
Yep.
Where it's just you can't see this thing or its form, but they were doing a pretty good job of demolishing things.
I will say when they crushed that Mustang, that late 70s Mustang into itself, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. How did they do that? However, for me, there was too much discovery for her and not enough action.
Yeah,
I needed to see more of Supergirl, not
right.
Oh, it's a pillow.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Girls are not like that.
But you're nailing the performance.
Yes.
I gotta say.
Well, and we didn't even have time to get to the fact that Selena and company live in a haunted house at an amusement park, which was maybe I could do a whole panel with Peter Cook and my favorite Princess Bride clergyman. Thank you guys. This could go on for days, but I think it's time to put our own DC Daily Omegahedron back where it belongs and wrap this panel up. So we'll see you tomorrow, but in the meantime, go check out Supergirl here on DC Universe.